Hello, everybody. This is Eleni and Caryn with another episode of Soul Sisters Get Real. How are you doing, Caryn?
I am amazing. I am just laughing actually as we get started because we are on different parts of the world, and you're summer and morning and I am winter, cold and night. As you can see, I was just thinking my shadows back there. And I love that we have the opportunity to share from opposite sides of the world. So
Yeah, I love that too. I love that too. And yeah, I've actually got the air conditioning on today because I don't know what this translates in Fahrenheit, but it's 35 degrees today in Melbourne, which is really hot. 35 degrees Celsius, which is really, really hot. And so it is a really hot day today. And I love that too. I love that we're on opposite sides of the globe, two soul sisters who meet every week, talk about what's going on in our lives and doing our best to really make the most of our lives whilst we're here on this earth and live intentionally rather than things happening to us. You know, how do we live in a way that we are intentional? And today's topic, we're going to talk about frequencies. And the reason that this came up was because on Monday I did an epic meditation, a very, very long meditation, probably the longest I've ever done. And I set an intention before the meditation. And my intention was, I want to live my life as my higher self and not my ego self.
That's asking a lot.
Well, I didn't think so, but boy, it was. Because in the meditation, in came my higher self, and I've never heard her at this pitch before, but the frequency was so high, Caryn, that it was torturous. But I knew that I didn't want to open my eyes. I didn't want to move because I knew that I needed to experience this for a reason. And so I just rode it through, and I saw my higher self as a queen, like not wearing a crown or anything, but the essence of a queen.
The queen that you are.
Yeah, carrying herself as a queen, but the highest pitched frequency that is intolerable to the human ear. And I felt the frequency in my body and I couldn't carry it. It was so high. And it's interesting that we think as humans that we could just live from our higher self and not our ego self, but we don't even know what that means. And I saw what that meant. That meant that it's a frequency that's very, 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 very high and not really practical at this moment in my life. Maybe it will be in 10 years. I don't know, or 5 years or 3 years or 2 years. But at this moment, it's not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And, it's interesting because as we move through, I remember even a while ago when you would talk about ego death, and gosh, wouldn't that be nice if we truly could have an ego death, because our egos rule us. That's what happened when we were born onto this earth, is everything was wiped clean and we were given an ego to keep us safe and all of these other things, right? And what I love about that is, as you talk about the higher frequency, is what's coming up for me is my son who's in heaven. He sends me messages and signs, the feathers. And for me, I ask for a coin, I get a quarter most of the time. I ask for a sign, I get an eagle, which I'd never seen eagles, all these pieces, like these little things that I know are him. I can meditate on the couch and see him on the chair next to me, and he literally gives me a message. Mom, this is what you need to write in the book, right? So there's those pieces. And yet there is also that longing of, I want more. I want more. I always want more of him, right? I want more messages. I want more of you to tell me what to do in my life. I want to feel you. I want to, like, all of that, right? Those pieces. And then talking about the higher frequencies, what I get is that because I am not in the same frequency as our souls on the other side, they are in high frequency, the queen, right? That soul, you can't always reach me because I'm not always in the highest frequency, right? I have emotions. I I sometimes when I think about him and I get sad, I tell myself immediately, like, he can't connect with you. Are you kidding? You're in a low frequency. You're crying because he's gone. You're sad. You have to get into his frequency. He can't reach you. Like, he's not reaching you. And so it's that space of like, we as humans, like, I mean, like you, I mean, maybe someday, maybe some year we can be in that frequency. But I know for me personally, I work really hard at being in joy and happiness and love and acceptance and all of those things. And yet I also know that my son, Josh, he wasn't always in that frequency on this earth, but he's in that frequency all the time. And unless I'm in that frequency, he can't communicate with me.
No.
I'm not available. He can't come down here in this one.
That's right. And that's, when people think, where is heaven? I mean, heaven is here. It's just a different realm and a different frequency. So they're at such a high frequency and we're down here. So what needs to happen for us to communicate is we need to raise our frequency, even if it's momentarily, and then they actually need to intentionally lower theirs so that we can have some sort of communication happening. So the thing that I have noticed, though, is that with myself is that I'm always watching myself and really giving myself permission. Like you said, sometimes we just want to be sad. And when I say want to be sad, we feel sadness, and so we allow that to happen. And that's the perfect thing to do, because that way you release it. And that's okay. So we're not actually, this talk here is not about how do you stay in a high frequency all the time, because that's practical.
You can't
at this moment. Yeah. But what you can do is intentionally watch yourself so that when you are in a lower frequency, you just notice that you are. You just notice that you are. You don't judge yourself for doing it. You just notice that you are. And then you can make decisions to increase your frequency when you want to. So as an example, like you said before, Caryn, you said, about joy and happiness. That gives you a higher frequency. Like, what is it that you do that gives you a higher frequency? For me, like, I love dancing. And that's why, every time I came to the States or do all my workshops, I always do dancing, because it makes me feel so good. Whereas that's not everybody's cup of tea. That is mine, though. I love dancing so much. There's certain things that give me a really high frequency, connecting with family. Other people feel stressed when they're with family. So what about you? What gives you that joy?
Very similar. Family, connecting with family gives me joy. Connecting with friends. My girlfriends have carried me through so much of my life. Definitely my boys, they keep me in high frequency. I love to dance, and yet I recognize my personality style is a little more reserved. So for me, it's like dancing when no one's watching, and yet that brings up my frequency, right? Yeah. So there's all those pieces, and I know, as we grow spiritually, we realize what does raise our frequency: singing, dancing, laughing. And a lot of times I find I'm in a very serious space, and I realize, like you, like, I get to have times of anger. I get to have times of sadness. Like, of course I'm going to be sad. My son is not here on this earth anymore. And yet also realizing that the key is to shift out of it, choose the gratitude about what I did have, and then move back into, I am gracious and I have a lot of gratitude and live in joy about everything I do have. Because, I wake up every morning, and I'm sure you do too. I literally open my eyes and think, I am so freaking blessed.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people would say, how can you say that when your son died?
Yeah.
But yet I live in that, like, I am so freaking blessed, and that keeps our vibration high.
Yeah, totally. And it's interesting that in the past, when I look at my journey, I didn't always feel that way. I had to remind myself to be grateful, years ago. But now I'm like you. I've come to a place where I literally live in gratitude. So I'm going for a walk and I look at the flowers, I look at the clouds, I look at the grass, and it's like, wow, this is incredible. And that really keeps us in a state of, high vibration and high frequency. But having said that, when the emotions do come and we feel sad about something, just to release them, just to let them go is so, so, so important. But, you know, what you said about connecting with our loved ones on the other side, if we do want to connect with our loved ones on the other side, or our family of light, or our angels, or our spirit guides, or whoever, we've got a team on the other side that's just there all the time with us. What I do in meditation is I actually I ask them to lower their vibration. So I actually give that request. So when I'm in meditation, I will ask that, I'm calling you in, because free will is number one universal law of the universe. And so they're not going to ever interrupt, take over, make decisions for us. We have to do it. This is our experience on earth. This is our adventure playground. We have to learn from our mistakes and learn the lessons and all the rest of it. Otherwise, what's the point of being here? And so I ask them to come in, and I ask them to get as close as they want to, as close as you want to, touch my face, and then I can feel like my face getting touched. But I do need to be in a meditative state, and then I can actually feel. And then I put my hands up, and I can feel like the energy is just so intense, and it's just so beautiful.
Yeah, I love that. I love that, because when I fall asleep at night, many times I call in like love and light and messages, and I'm writing this book, messages for the book, messages from Josh. And I don't know that I've ever asked them to lower their frequency. I think that's great. I love it.
I didn't make that up. I learned that from a meditation teacher.
Yeah.
So I can't claim that. But that's what she said to do. Actually, it's Laurie Ladd that that's the way she said, just tell them to lower their frequency, and that way they meet you. And you've got to let them know if it's okay to come in. Like, it's okay to come in, because otherwise they'll keep the distance. So it's okay, come right in, touch my face, touch my neck, touch my shoulders, touch my hands, and then you can feel like the everywhere, you can actually feel it. So, and that just gives you more affirmation and more confirmation that we are not alone, that all the things that we think are falling on our shoulders, that there is another perspective, and the other perspective is that we're not alone, that we do have these beautiful high dimensional, high frequency beings, our angels, our spirit guides, our loved ones that have passed over, that are with us, and they will come when we call them.
When our frequency is high.
I was going to say, and you said it exactly, when our frequency is high, because if you can imagine that we're just sitting here and bawling our eyes out and crying and angry and resentful, then they can't get through. It's almost like when you go to a nightclub, like, which I can't handle, like bars or nightclubs that are really noisy anymore. I just cannot handle them. But imagine somebody in the nightclub and they're at the bar and you've just walked in, and there's so much music going on around you, and then you're calling, Caryn, Caryn, Caryn. Like, how are you going to hear? Whereas if you're actually sitting outside on the grass with your eyes closed and you allow those thoughts to disappear, it takes about 20 minutes for me for the thoughts to disappear. Like, the thoughts come in strong to begin with, like all sorts of things about the day and tomorrow and whatever the ego tries to think is important, and then you quieten the mind, and then they have an opportunity to come in.
And what I love about that is we're both hypnotherapists. And so so we've learned how to quiet the mind. And it's a learned skill, is quieting the mind. And I run into so many people that say, like, my thoughts run away from myself all the time. And it's about quieting the mind in order to allow all of that to come in.
Yeah. But, even though I was a hypnotherapist for so long, and still am, I actually didn't really master that until I just dedicated myself to meditation, which has been recently. It's not been a long time. It's only been the last 5 to 6 weeks that I'm doing it twice a day. Yeah, before then it was every now and again, but the last 6 weeks have been twice a day, twice a day, twice a day religiously. And it takes practice.
Yeah. Right. And it's dedication, right? So it's like anything that's important to us. We dedicate time to check our Facebook accounts when we're in a business. We dedicate time to respond to emails. And it's that dedication, right? And that, so funny you say that. I have my Alexa programmed at noon every day because I'm working from home now and seeing clients virtually every day at noon. This is your reminder, meditate. This is your reminder, meditate. And sometimes I'm in the middle of something and I think in my head, like, be quiet, Alexa. And then I like remind myself, like, meditate, Caryn, because that's when I get my answers. What I have found is that when I quiet the mind and I do meditate, I get the most amazing ideas and I love it. And yet if I don't make the space to do that, I'm always in the doing, right? Then I don't have space to do that.
Yeah.
Something that came up for me, I wanted to mention, and maybe we should speak with this about this next time is, I was talking to one of my coaches about, the book I'm writing and how when Josh died, how I moved through that so quickly. And I would love to hear from other parents that are stuck more in the grief and the low vibration, the angry at God, the my life is horrible, the I can't get out of it. Because I recognize that I don't understand that, even though I had been through the same thing they had been through, because for some reason my vibration continued to be high. And so I was pretty quick to be able to hear Josh, see Josh, feel Josh. And then that relationship for me was able to be strengthened, as opposed to feeling like I lost him or angry. I mean, even the guy that pulled in front of him that was, over the limit for drinking, I didn't feel the anger toward him. It was more of like, oh my gosh, for the rest of his life, he has to suffer that he killed a 23-year-old. So maybe next time we can talk about this, because I would love to even get your perspective about how do you, what is it? I don't know what it feels like to be stuck in that vibration, because I've always been in the space of, and I'm sure you can relate, that sucks. Like, I don't want to be stuck in that feeling. I don't want to be stuck in grief, because grief hurts. Right. So maybe we could talk about that next time and how you move through it and how we relate to others that are stuck there and how we help bring them out of it.
Yeah, I think we can just touch on it since you brought it up, though. I think that it's important that because the spiritual ego is a thing, because I had it and I watch it and it still comes up. And spiritual ego is when you have an awareness that's suddenly expanded and then you think you know more than someone else who is not at the same awareness level. But we've just got to remember that all the souls are moving along at the right pace for them, whatever that pace is. So when people are in that stuck mode, it's really important, I feel, to hold the space. As opposed to teach them, tell them what we know. I don't think that's helpful. When someone is really, when you think about, when I think about the times that I have been really distressed and really upset about something, I wouldn't want someone to come in and say, oh yeah, but this is just an illusion and this and that and whatever. You want to be validated. You want your feelings to be validated by the people that you care for. So I think it's important that when people are stuck in that space, that we do hold the space for them to express even victim consciousness and everything that they're expressing. And then later on, if we have a relationship with them, we can drop seeds. I know that Christian does this, because my partner, Christian, he works for the Department of Child Protection. So he works with the children that are unseen, unloved, unheard, and don't have anybody looking after them. And he builds relationships with very angry, traumatized children. And to begin with, he doesn't tell them, no, you shouldn't steal that car. He doesn't tell them, well, this is what will happen if you steal that car. You know, can you imagine? There's no rapport building there. He just holds the space for whatever they're expressing. And then later on, when he's got the rapport, he'll drop a seed or he'll drop a pearl of wisdom. But, you know, he might say, well, this person said this, as opposed to him saying it. And so it'll give them awareness by asking a particular question. So I think questions are the most powerful things that we can ask people.
Yeah. Right. The open-ended questions. I love that. And as you're speaking about it, I can see Christian just being so amazing in that role.
He is.
I love that. That's like what he's meant to be, meant to do.
Yeah, he really, really, really is. And I'm just so thrilled that he's found this really important calling for our unwanted children. But yeah, that's a big topic. So I've digressed a little bit, but I think that we covered what we wanted to, which is about, you know, that the beings on the other side, our family of light, they are there. They are there to support you. So if you're listening, you have got a family of light. It's not just me and Caryn that have got one. Every single human has got one. But it's about allowing yourself to trust, believe, and know that you are supported, you are loved, that you're here for a reason, and that if you're experiencing some crap, that's okay. It's part of the deal. It's part of the adventure playground called Earth, and feel it. That's your greatest opportunity to release it, is to feel it.
Yeah, and like you said, is you are so loved. Like, if I could give you anything, a gift of anything, is you are so lovable, and you are so loved by so many beings and entities and spirits and God and Jesus and everyone up there, right? Buddha, whatever it is that you like, you are so loved. If you could just see how lovable you are and embrace that, that helps too, to like really just really know that you're loved.
Oh, beautiful. I think that's a beautiful place to end this session.
Yeah.
Once again, thank you to my beautiful soul sister from across the globe, Caryn, for doing this gig together. I so love chatting with you. And yeah, how can you not finish the session with the word love? Because ultimately, that's all that matters, right?
Love, right?
I can't do it. There you go.
Good job. You got it.
Yeah, so guys, we would love it if you subscribed to this channel. We have some plans to be launching a podcast soon, and we're going to let you know when that actually happens. So if you really enjoyed this, let us know. Put some comments down. Yeah.